welcome to the worship service with the Parish Church of Christ. We're glad that you are here with us this morning. I want to encourage you to stop by the table in the foyer as you leave to the right. Tina Zegers has been working hard getting the information updated for the new church directory. And so we would like for you to take a look at the information that we have there on the table. Make any corrections, modifications that you need to make, phone numbers, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever it might be, and put your initials on it afterwards so that we'll know that you have looked at it. And then we'll work on getting pictures made and have the new directory finished before long. We have a big month coming up, as Brother Jackson pointed out. Next Sunday will be the first Sunday of the month, so the lesson will be on one of our favorite songs. And this particular song will be The Old Rugged Cross. The Old Rugged Cross. It's one of my favorite songs as well. So that will be the lesson for next Sunday. I'm looking forward to this weekend. If you can't tell by the tie that I'm wearing, football season starts this weekend. Tennessee plays Friday, Alabama plays Saturday, Kentucky plays Sunday. So I know what I'm going to do for 10 hours or so this weekend. They completed the elders to put off the meeting until the next Sunday, so we'll be able to watch more of the Kentucky game. Just kidding. But we're going to have a busy September. I hope that you can participate in as many activities as possible. What is the hardest word in the English language? If you're asking about what is the longest word in the English language, if I were to ask the kids in the congregation, in the audience, what is the hardest word to say? One of them would probably come up with supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, right? That's what you were thinking. All of us who are parents or grandparents have seen that movie billions of times. A good movie. But that's not a real word, is it? I found it a challenge when I was little to try to learn how to spell the word. Now, trying to figure out, now today you can go on Google, and you can type supercal or whatever, and then it would come up. But back then, prior to pre-internet days, it'd be a hard way to figure out how to spell the word. The longest word in the English language, you got a good English dictionary. The longest word in the English language is pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Now you know what I've been doing in the office all week. That is referring to a lung disease that minors can get. But if you go back further than that, and you ask, well, what is the longest word that may not even be in the dictionary, a word that you don't necessarily use at all? Well, there's a word longer than that. There's a word in the chemistry field that's 1,185 letters long. Now, it is obviously composed, that is, somebody sat down and said, let's just make up this word. Now, this is referring to the tobacco mosaic virus. So it is really a chemical in this virus, over 1,000 letters long. Now, I'm glad we don't have to have a spelling test over that. But in other ways, the hardest word in the English language for some of us to say is the word no. There was an editor of a major magazine several years ago asked several of his senior writers, what is the most useful word in the English language? And they responded with the word no. If you think about it, our culture finds it hard to say no. We cannot say no to sin. We have a hard time saying no to instant gratification. In fact, one writer refers to this phenomenon as the fortification of America. Instant gratification. Microwaves, cell phones, instant messaging, instant access to the internet. Now. I want it now. That is the pornification of America. If you think about it, the fast food industry has grown and thrived on that very need. You think about all of the extracurricular activities that our children are involved in. And if we did not have fast food restaurants, where would we be? Pick up the kids from school, got to take them here, got to take them there, got to take them here, got to run through a drive-thru and pick up a big bag of fries. It's this instant gratification that has allowed the fast food industry to grow and thrive. The credit card and the loan industry has been built on the pornification of America. We've got to have it now. Now. This inability that we seem to have, the ability that we lack to delay or to put off gratification. Well, I want us to look this morning, I want us to contrast two individuals that are probably relatively the same age in the Bible and see how they responded to this urge to fulfill gratification, instant gratification. Now, these two individuals, of course, the situation deals with sin, but the problem that we have goes beyond sinful acts themselves, doesn't it? Sometimes we just have an inability to tell somebody no if they ask us to do something, okay. Somebody else asks me to do something, okay. Somebody else asks me to do something, okay, because we can't say no. And so the problem is still the same, whether it's saying no to sinful endeavors or sinful temptations or saying no to something else. The bottom line is the same. So first of all, I want us to take a look at Samson. Turn to Judges chapter 14, really, where we're going to look. If you're using the Bible in the pew, it's page 214. Page 214. Samson, of course, is the Hercules of the Bible. Hercules was made up. Samson was a real person. The story of Samson actually begins in chapter 13. Where God sends an angel to a man from the family of Dan named Manoah and his wife Mrs. Manoah. And the angel tells them that she is going to have a son and he is going to deliver Israel from the Philistines. Now his mom and then Samson himself are supposed to take what is called the Nazirite vow. The Nazirite vow was a special vow the Jews were allowed to take if they wanted to dedicate themselves to God in a special way. In particular, they were not allowed to eat anything that grew on the vine, grapes in particular. They could not drink anything from the grapevine, and they could not cut their hair. Now, Samson himself was blessed, of course, in a special way with superhuman strength. Now notice, and this should be Judges chapter 14, but notice in Judges chapter 14, this is the first picture we have of Samson. And notice what he's doing. Judges chapter 14. Samson goes down to the village of Timnah, and he sees a woman there who is of the religion of the Philistines. Now that right there should have been when Samson said no. Because God in the law of Moses said, Deuteronomy chapter 7 and other passages, do not marry somebody who is going to take your heart away from God. We went to the Monday night youth devotional in Versailles last Monday night. You get a group of 100 young people, young boys and young girls, singing praises to God, and it just melts your heart. These young people who are gathered together to worship God, kids who deal with things in school, you know they go through things in school, but right now they're wanting to praise and worship God. And you know what I wanted? I wasn't the one speaking, But what I wanted to do was stand up and say, y'all sound so great using your voices to praise God. Let me tell you something. Do not marry somebody who ever discourages you from praising God. Do not marry somebody who is going to discourage you from praising God. God told the Israelites, don't marry somebody who's going to steal your heart away from me. Samson ignores that. Samson sees this woman. He goes back to his parents, verse 2, and he says, I saw this woman there. Look at the end of verse 2. Get her for me. Can't delay gratification. He can't wait until God provides a wife for him from his own religion who will help him continue praising God. He can't wait. There's a woman, she's good looking, get her for me now. But in verse 3, his dad speaks up and says, son, this is not a good idea. Let's wait. Let's find somebody else, a daughter of our relative from among our own people. But look at what Samson responds at the end of verse 3. Get her for me, for she looks good to me. You see, Samson is struggling with this problem of instant gratification. I can't wait, Dad. Can't wait on God. I want her, and I want her now. They get her as a wife for Samson, and she winds up turning her back on Samson, of course, because her religion, her heart belongs to her religion, the Philistine religion, and she betrays Samson into the hands of the Philistines. Now flip over to chapter 16, because Samson has not learned his lesson. Samson still has not learned to wait on God. Delay gratification. Be patient with God, and God will bless you beyond your imagination. He can't wait. And so the beginning part of chapter 16, Samson goes to Gaza, which is another city of the Philistines, and he sees a woman there who in fact is a prostitute, and he wants her as a wife, and he almost gives up his life there to the Philistines. After that, he meets this woman named Delilah. You see, he still can't wait. And Delilah also was a Philistine. Delilah is not going to help Samson fulfill his vows in Nazarite. Delilah is not going to help Samson worship God. Delilah is not going to go to the tabernacle with Samson to worship God because she doesn't even believe in Samson's God. But what Delilah does do is she tricks Samson into telling her the secret of his strength. Look at verse 15 of chapter 16. She said to him, how can you say, I love you when your heart is not with me? And then in verse 16, she pressed him daily. Tell me the secret of your strength. You see, she wasn't interested in Samson. She wasn't wanting to help Samson move from a life on earth to a life in heaven. She didn't care one whit about that. She didn't even believe in heaven. And because she enticed Samson and he gave up his secret, she betrayed him into the hands of the Philistines. They were able to bind him. They plucked out his eyes, and they probably burned him with a hot iron. And then they put him serving them. The only time we have in these 13, 14, 15, 16, 4 chapters, the only time we have Samson trying to have a relationship with God is at the very end of chapter 16, when he has been blinded, he has been humiliated, he has been embarrassed. He finally says, God, give me strength one last time. And he pulls down the pillars of the temple in which the Philistines were worshiping their God together. He kills them and he kills himself in the process. How tragic it is that Samson's life was ended so early, and that his life was ended in such a horrible way because Samson could not delay gratification. And so one of the fundamental